Welcome back. Remember when climate hysteria was everywhere? It was the issue of an entire generation, with climate crusaders defacing classic paintings, thinking this would somehow save the environment. The panic even led many young Americans to say they don't want kids. A poll by Pew Research shows 26% of adults 18 to 49 unlikely to have children due to concerns about the environment. But now, a top scientist at MIT says this hysteria was motivated by money, not by science. He told the Daily Mail, the fact that you have a multi-trillion-dollar industry and you have an opportunity to completely overturn it, and it had great appeal to a lot of politicians, they got wild on it. Another half degree and we're doomed, and so on. The public knows this is nonsense. Simply put, the imminent threat of an environmental disaster seems murky. Even known climate alarmist Bill Gates is having a climate change of heart, saying, although climate change will have serious consequences, particularly for people in the poorest countries, it will not lead to humanity's demise. People will be able to live and thrive in most places on Earth for the foreseeable future. Joining me now, Accuracy and Media President Adam Guillette. Adam, great to see you here in Dallas.
Thank you so much for having me.
This just occurred to me in the past week as I noticed, first of all, an increasing number of people, including academics, admit that climate change is not the existential threat that it was sold to us as for a couple decades. And it kind of disappearing from the news. I mean, it was the thing that everybody was banging the table about, and no more.
All it's ever been is a tool that the left could use to smash capitalism, an opportunity to give power to politicians to take more of our tax revenue. And now that increasingly, when you look at every public opinion poll, it's incredibly low on the issues that Americans are concerned about. So those who wanted to use this to push their agenda have had to move on to other issues.
Okay, so it reveals the falsehood of the agenda for all that time, telling us that we're going to die in 12 years, telling us that cities are going to be flooded, that we're going to lose coastlines, that there'll be no ice at the North Pole, telling us all of this. It was all fake. And I don't even mean that in terms of their science projections, which were fake, but I mean their own belief in it was fake.
I'm sure there are true believers, and I don't know who I respect less, those who are true believers and those who would honestly tell you after a few drinks, I'm just doing this to push my own politics. I'm sure they had some true believers, but you see the key leaders, the key faces of this movement, like you mentioned, Bill Gates, Greta Thunberg, they're moving on to other things because they've realized that adults see through it. Of course, as we talked about, children, that's the danger. They don't necessarily see through it, and sadly, they still buy it.
And I asked you this, even Gen Z, even the younger generation, it seems like this climate hysteria captured an entire generation, kind of the millennial generation. But you see that same level of anxiety about the climate in Gen Z?
Even worse. Now, anxiety levels for Gen Z are abnormally high anyway, but a lot of it is directly to do with this climate crisis threat. New Jersey, where I went to school, last year passed a law requiring climate change to be taught in every grade. This isn't just college, this is kindergarten. And as a result, more than half of young people now have anxiety, have fear for their future. They think their existence is bad for the environment. They don't want to have kids because they worry about what kind of world their kids will live in with the temperature. They buy this nonsense, unfortunately.
So it's really interesting that it's fallen away from the front page of the newspaper. It's fallen away from the headline. It's fallen away from the top issues, but it's now baked into education. It's baked into the psyche of young people because it's a granted assumption in their textbook. That's an absolutely fascinating thing that we need to continue to address. Adam, great to see you. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
All right.